Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Gina Marie Agderian. I am the author of The Letters in the Old House, available on Amazon in paperback and Kindle. I will have a link to purchase the book in the description below. So today is, of course, another episode of Book Talk. This is a series I do where I talk about a book that I recently read, what I enjoyed, what I didn't enjoy, and ultimately help you determine if you would like to read this book. If you go to my channel, you will see there are plenty of other videos that you can watch all about books. So today I am talking about Weyward by Emilia Hart, and this is admittedly not a book that I would normally pick. I did actually pick this because I think I found it on Goodreads or something and people were just recommending it, or I saw it on Instagram. And I said, what the heck, I'll give it a whirl. And I ended up really enjoying it. It does toggle between three different perspectives. So there's three different main characters. There's Alpha, there's Violet, and there's Kate. Alpha is based in the 1600s. Violet is in the 1940s, and then Kate is in 2019. So it's about these three different women who are facing different struggles, but they're somewhat intertwined in a way. And there is a little bit of kind of magic / magical realism in this book, which if you're a fan of Sarah Addison Allen, who's an author that writes a lot of magical realism novels, I do think that this is something potentially that you would enjoy. So it does follow Kate, it follows Violet, and it follows Alpha in their journeys, different struggles that they have, and they are all connected, which becomes apparent as you continue to read on. Some elements, not necessarily of witchcraft, but of, I would say, magic maybe. A lot of references to nature, a lot of nature imagery, insect imagery, animal imagery, which is pretty interesting. Like I said, this is not something I would normally pick up, but I was very engrossed in it. And I'm actually thinking, because I did admittedly just film 2 other book talk videos, I've gotten so lucky the past several books of having like 4 and 5 star books that I've gotten through that have just been really, really good. So I've been kind of on a roll of really good books here. So I do recommend this also if you kind of like fantasy novels. I don't necessarily consider this fantasy, but there's more of a fantasy / magic theme that goes into this book. I believe this is also this author's first book, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it says it's her debut novel. And I do think it is something that is worth reading if you're not really into like fantasy novels. I'm certainly not, but you may want to give this one a read. I do think the writing was beautiful. There were some criticisms that I saw on Goodreads that I don't necessarily agree with. There is a lot of just kind of warning here, a lot of mentions of different types of abuse in this book. If that is something that you're sensitive to, you may want to skip it. But there was a little bit of criticism of how a lot of the men in this book are bad. Not all of them, but some of them. I do think that it's really just showing sort of a power struggle a little bit, especially, you know, between the first 2 women, the Violet in the 1940s and Alpha in the 1600s. And then Kate to some extent too, but just kind of struggles for the other 2 women, Alpha and Violet, in their time period that kind of were more specific to their time period. And then Kate's struggle that she has with a certain man is universal and is tale as old as time, unfortunately. So again, mentions of abuse, different types. If you're sensitive to that, skip this book altogether. But if you are open to maybe reading something a little bit different or a little bit more, I would say just kind of out of the box, I do recommend picking this book up. I don't want to get too much into the plot simply because the 3 women, I can't really talk too much about it without actually giving away the ending and what happens. But I do recommend reading this, especially if you're a feminist, somebody who's really into women's rights. This is right up your alley. Anyway, Weyward by Emilia Hart. Let me know in the comment section if you enjoyed this book, what you liked, what you didn't like, if it's on your TBR. And as always, guys, happy reading.